welcome to episode 14 of Spiritual Practices for Tough Times. I am glad that you are with us today, and it's hard to believe. Episode 14. Where are the days and weeks going by? I guess it's good they're going by, and I hope you're staying safe and well as we join together. And wherever you are and whatever's happening, I hope you can use this time as a moment just to let yourself be. Let yourself to let go and to fall into this underlying calm and presence and peace that is with us in every moment. We light our candle as we begin our time as a reminder that there is sacred light within us and around us, and there's sacred light with all those who are suffering in our world, those who are struggling with COVID-19, those who are grieving the loss of loved ones from COVID-19 or other things, and with our first responders, our nurses and doctors and ambulance workers and those who work in the hospital. And as always, it's wonderful to have a cup of tea with you as we join together. I hope you have something to drink, a tea or coffee or yerba mate or something a little stronger if you're watching this in the evening. I'd like us to begin our time together by following a breathing guided meditation where we allow ourselves to come more fully into our body, more fully into our awareness and mindfulness. Just a reminder, as you heard me say before, one of the translations for the name of God, which really talks about the presence of God, is breathing life. That there is this breathing life in and around us in every moment. So I'm going to ring our meditation bell and then invite us to come into our chair or where you're sitting and begin to breathe, to join our breath with the one breath that connects all our cosmos and universe through our one great joy and our one great suffering. So let us begin. So close your eyes. Just take a moment and start to feel your body. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your derriere and your back on your chair. Even allow yourself to feel the subtle and gentle movement of the air around you where you're sitting. Then I invite you to take a deep breath in. Allow your mind to become focused on your breath as you're breathing in and as you're breathing out. And if you begin to find your awareness shifting or starting to cling to some thoughts in your head or sensations or emotions, it's okay. Don't judge them. Don't judge yourself. Just gently let them go and bring your attention back to your breath so that you begin to feel that in-breath filling your lungs, bringing you into your body. And with your exhalation, you just let go. So you breathe in and you breathe out. Become more present to your body and the connection to your heart and the connection to your mind resting in your heart and your body. I'm going to let you take a couple breaths without me speaking now. As you continue to be aware of your breath, maybe you're becoming aware of the breathing life that you're a part of. Maybe begin to feel this lightness in your chest, that tension starts to leave your body, that you feel this sense of warmth and expanding presence and intimacy in your chest, going out from there to your limbs and your toes and your fingers. You can't explain it, but there's this vibrancy, there's this flow, as not dependent on anything happening. Take one more breath. Let go. Be here now, just as you are, not having to be anything else but present here in this moment. Now gently open your eyes. And as you open them, do you see or sense a moment of joy or beauty or gratitude in your surroundings? How do you feel in your body now? Is your mind a bit quieter? Do you have a sense of underlying calm that pervades every moment? I hope you do. How are you doing? You know, we've been on this journey now for a number of weeks. And it seems like we don't know when the journey is going to end around COVID-19. And even when COVID-19 ends, we'll still have the normal ups and downs of life, the life that we can't control. And so how do we continue to cultivate our spiritual practices in our lives so that no matter what happens in our lives, that we're able to compress those highs and lows and find a much more steady state of relating to life, even relating to our own mind. My mind can go everywhere at sometimes. I don't know about yours, but at sometimes it can be this rant, or this can be this low or anxiety, or I'd like to call it acedia. It's one of the ancient words from our Christian lineage. Acedia is that state where it's like, I don't know if it really matters what I do. Is the world going to really change? But how can we allow spiritual practices to help us live a life that's more balanced, more open to ourselves and others, and more able to skillfully, compassionately, non-violently, and mindfully work with whatever comes up for us and in our relationships and at work? Because life is so precious, and life is a gift, and at the same time life is this fragility, and this is what we have. This is our life. How do we work with it? And that's been our hope with these episodes of spiritual practice for tough times, is helping us find the skillful means to work with that. So today, I'd like to share with you how that spiritual practices are a gradual process. They require from us, like everything in life that we want to grow with, perseverance and fidelity to just doing the practice. And as we continue to persevere, and as we continue to have fidelity, what we discover is, like everything in life, it takes time. Most of us are not savants when it comes to spiritual practices, like most of us are not savants with anything. How long does it take you to learn and read? Maybe you're saying to yourself, like me, well, I still can't do grammar and I misspell everything. With the advent of computers and spell check, that's even got worse. Or remember in your life, and maybe if you're young enough you don't do this, remember how many telephone numbers you used to have memorized in your head. Well, now we've become sort of lazy with cell phones, and I can't even remember my own cell phone number sometimes. How long does it take you to get in shape? You know, everything with life, it takes this perseverance and fidelity to simple practices. And that's no different with our spiritual life, with our emotional life, and waking up to the world and being able to work with it skillfully and mindfully. And that's with spiritual practices. That's why it's really important. Like when you go to the doctor's office and they say, well, you know, like my doctor did recently, you know, it might be good to lose 5 to 10 pounds. Have you thought of doing this? Have you thought of doing that? Well, if you go home and a year goes past and you go back to the doctor's office, will anything change if you don't take their advice? Well, that's the same with spiritual practices. And sometimes we'll do them and wonder, well, what's happening? Is anything changing? Well, it takes this perseverance where we put a little time aside each day, maybe 5 minutes in the morning, maybe 5 minutes at night. If you want to know the truth, the wise folks from our Christian lineage would say, if you could really start with 20 minutes of conscious breathing or of knitting meditation or mindful walking or doing the labyrinth or centering prayer, and just do that every day. I suggest, if this is really new to you, just do 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Set a timer, sit down and do 5 minutes. And it will change over time. And it will be gradual. It's like a plant growing. It's like the tomato plant we have here today in the seeds. Nothing happens overnight. It's interesting that science is starting to confirm what for thousands of years in different religious traditions, that meditation practices, spiritual practices, mindful practices, they're not just this new age woo-woo fluffy stuff of unicorns and rainbows, that they actually change the structure and neuroplasticity of our minds. They change the connections between our mind and heart and body. And as they do that, then they change our connections to how we see the world and how we interact with each other. In this brainfact.org video, we hear the connections that science are discovering in the structures of our brain and simple spiritual practices.
From millennia-old spiritual practice to modern staple of self-care, the art of meditation has a long history. Whether you are seeking enlightenment or just need a break from the madness of the outside world, the act of sustained inward focus can be an amazing experience. But just because your mind is calmed doesn't mean that your brain is on break. In fact, the act of meditation has a measurable effect on the activity of your brain. If you're new to meditation, you might begin by trying to clear your mind and focus your attention, perhaps on your own breathing, the sensation of your skin, or maybe a single thought. As you do this, the brain's natural rhythms, called brainwaves, begin to shift. Beta waves, the choppy rhythm associated with active thought, gives way to slower alpha waves, prevalent during relaxation. Experienced meditators can also produce stronger gamma waves during meditation, which are associated with deep concentration. Different regions of the brain begin their specialized work as well. The premotor cortex and the insular cortex fire up, increasing their activity as you quiet your mind. These regions are responsible for a host of activities. They regulate your attention and control awareness of your own body, thoughts, and emotions. And just like pumping iron at the gym, practicing meditation can make these regions stronger. The cerebral cortex of frequent meditators is actually thicker than that of non-meditators and has more folds. Meditation may also reduce your stress, improve your mood, and even ease the symptoms of anxiety and depression. So it's a miracle cure, right? Well, maybe not. A lot more research is needed to figure out exactly how much potential meditation has as a treatment. After all, we're still unsure if it is meditation that can treat anxiety disorders, or if people who have less anxiety are simply more likely to meditate. Scientists are scrutinizing these links to learn more about the connection between meditation and wellness. But ancient wisdom may have a head start of a few thousand years over modern brain science. There's not much downside to trying it out, though. Just sit back, breathe deep, and concentrate.
So the science of the brain is slowly catching up to the wisdom of spiritual traditions that have taught spiritual practices. And in our Christian lineage, we've had these spiritual practices for thousands of years, but they haven't always been part of our organized religion or taught to us for lots of reasons that we can't talk about today, or this would be too long of an episode. But the important thing is that even in the ancient texts we read, there are signs of this, that, as Jesus taught, where your heart is, there is your treasure. And the heart was seen as your awareness. So where your awareness is, there's your treasure. So if our awareness, which is both part of our brain but also of our body, is focused on things like fear or anxiety, there's nothing wrong with those, or caught up in these thought forms that keep us up at night or we chew on constantly, then we're not open to the present moment. We're not open to the beauty that's all around us. We're not open to the joy. We're not open to how to work with suffering. And so science is starting to document the effects of stress, the effects of a mind that's wound really tight, and what that does to our health. But it's also starting to study how that the simple practice of mindfulness starts to open these things up and connect us more deeply. Dr. Craig Hassad, who's part of an organization called Simple Mind and bringing mindfulness into schools and into work, is finding that this research, which is exploding, is starting to show these connections in this next video.
My name's Associate Professor Craig Hassad, and I work at Monash University, based originally in the Department of General Practice. Mindfulness is very simple. It has to do with paying attention to the present moment, to our life as it unfolds, but also cultivating an attitude with which we pay attention. Researchers and psychologists start to adapt mindfulness to help people with chronic and relapsing depression. And when those studies started to come out showing major reductions in relapse rates, other people started to take it seriously. And literally on the back of the research, it's just gone up exponentially since the early 2000s. To the point that, say, last year alone, 2016, there were just under 700 new papers published in refereed medical, psychological journals. One of the interesting things and the challenging thing for people to understand is how mindfulness can have profound effects on our physical health. Now, to understand that, we need to understand a little bit about the fight or flight response. So for a short period of time, we're faster and we're stronger and we'll have more endurance than we normally have. Now, the unfortunate thing is that when we're not mindful, we often activate that response when we don't really need it. So one of the people to really put this on the map, the chronic effect of this overactivation of the response, was McEwen. And he described what he called allostatic load, physiological wear and tear, like flogging the car day in, day out. And that's associated with a poor immune function. We get less defense against coughs, colds, infections. We're more likely to get sick during periods of high stress, but we get more inflammation. The technical term's immune dysregulation. Metabolic effects, blood pressure, blood glucose, blood lipids are out of whack. It thins our bones. It increases the rate of atherosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries that leads to heart attacks and strokes and so on. If we wanted to accelerate aging, this is how to do it. But it damages the brain as well. So these stress chemicals day in, day out damage areas that are very important, like the hippocampus, so that's our learning and memory center of the brain, and the prefrontal cortex, so that's working memory and executive function. These are our higher functions. And damaging those areas of the brain is not what we want to do. The effects of this high activation of the stress response and so on, the psychological, emotional stress, has even been found to go right down to the DNA of our cells. So Elizabeth Blackburn, an Australian woman who won the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 2009 for discovering telomeres, she and her team, Elisa Epel, particularly prominent among her team, have found that overactivating this response accelerates the aging process as measured by DNA in terms of telomere length. So we can be about a decade older by middle age if we've got high levels of anger and hostility and stress and so on, compared to somebody who might have the same situation in life but is getting less stressed and reactive over them. The interesting thing is, when we practice being more mindful, then it switches off these distracted default circuits. It engages the sensory areas and the attention centers of the brain. And when we're sitting down practicing mindfulness meditation, those centers in our brain are getting a workout. It's like they're going to the gym, right? They're lifting some weights, they're on the treadmill. It starts to have a whole range of positive effects on the health. So we get immune regulation. So better immunity, we're less likely to get sick with coughs, colds, infections. It switches off excessive inflammation, takes stress off the cardiovascular system, switches down cortisol, all the damage that it has on the bones. Elizabeth Blackburn and her team have been doing work on that in a whole series of studies that started, first one published in 2009, that showed that mindfulness switched on the repair enzyme called telomerase and has been found to slow down the rate of aging down to the DNA of the cells. If that was a drug, that would be a blockbuster drug.
I don't know if you find this interesting, but part of my background has been science. And I so love the connection that how science is helping us to show on a cellular and a molecular and a body level that the simple practice that's been around for thousands of years of letting go with your breath, or in centering prayer, of letting go of your thoughts with the word, or doing like mindful walking on a labyrinth or outside, or yoga, or we can go on and on with all these different practices. They have real effects. This is not about an altered state, but it's actually coming into our bodies, becoming integrated, letting go of thoughts that stress us out, so we don't find ourselves, as you heard in the video, when we're caught clinging in a stress response that might not even be a real survival event, that our mind can create the situation by our clinging to a certain thought, emotional patterns, where our amygdala, which is our flight and our freeze response or survival, can do a whole cascade of things. And when we get caught up in over that time, it affects our health in ways that we can't understand. So spiritual practices, they are really important. They're important for you and your health and your well-being. And then the benefits of that go out to your daily living, to your relationships with people, and then to the earth. In a way, as I've been journeying with this, I think they're so important that we need to make them as important part of our life as working, as exercise, as brushing our teeth, as school, that if we really want to change our world, we want to deal with COVID-19, which has just racketed up our stress, change with climate change and all these things, then spiritual practices are part. They're not the solution, but they're part of the solution. And when we do that, we can find a change of perspective. It doesn't mean we're not going to suffer. It doesn't mean things aren't going to go the way we want. It doesn't mean we don't have to change and grow still, but what it does mean is that we discover it's all in the mind, and that whatever happens, we can find this underlying sense of calm and flow and presence that helps us through everything. That's what Alderetta Filman discovered in her life in this film from Green Renaissance.
Life is not in a box. There's no rules. It's what you make with life. If you want to be old, you can be old. And if you fight a bit, you can carry on much longer. Doesn't mean that you haven't got sometimes aches and pains, that's for sure. Getting stiff or can't touch your toes so easy. Can't get your socks on, that's the main thing early in the morning. But other than that, it's all in the mind. Sugar. Sugar, sugar. Okay, alles is real. Oh, I had enough of my own heart sores. My one and only child, she died. But 15 months. And there was no chance of having another one. Now, I remember I asked the day of when it happened to the minute the day after, will I ever be able to laugh again? And he said to me, yes, you will laugh again. And you do. You get to a point where you realize, but she wouldn't want you to sit in that horrible, deep hole that you were sitting. The anger never goes really away. But you can live fully by looking life square in the face. Look at it and say, yes, it does hurt. It hurt tremendously. But am I going to stand like this for another 50 years? No. That's all you get from me. You can feel sorry for yourself to a point, but work through it and pull up your shoulders and go on. Don't carry baggage with you. Where do you want to take it with? It doesn't take you anywhere. Get angry and get it over with. Get angry. Get angry and kick a door or go and sit in a corner and cry it out. Get angry. Everyone told you, to behave. Why? Why must I behave? If I'm cross, I'm cross. So get angry, but get it over with. Getting it out, you get calmer in your inner self. Don't ask me how, I don't know, but it does. There's no secret to life. I just think don't put life in a box. It's your approach to life. Do you see the beauty in it, or do you just exist? Be careful to just exist. That's dangerous. It's not big things in life that makes you happy. It's to be able to see the beauty in the small things. Or when you see a nice flower. Have you ever smelled it? Have you ever smelled earth? There's very few things that smell so nice as earth. Go for life. There's enough time when you're not there anymore. Go for it while you are there. Be alive.
How wonderful. Be alive. And even the deep question, do you just exist? I mean, that's a hard question to answer sometimes. In some ways, COVID-19, I think, is wrestling all of us up of what is life about? Are we fully alive? Are we fully present? Do we smell the earth? Do we see the beauty in the small things? Or are we being co-opted by the system so that we're living in this stressful environment all the time? And that's where spiritual practices come. They invite us to stop. They invite us to let go. They actually are part of the healing and balance process of life, to just be. And when we do them, and this is this is the premise of the whole series, is that we become fully alive. We are able to begin to work with all our emotions in skillful means, as not becoming this mush or this gray stuff or living in some other reality or dimension. We get to become present. So I hope this has helped you today. I hope this gives you some perspective. I hope it encourages you to continue your practice or even start one. So I'd like to end our time with breathing together, of this letting go, of letting everything in our body and our thoughts and minds just be. And the practice we're going to do is we're going to imagine that we're sitting by a side of a brook or a stream. And as we sit there, the practice is just to be conscious of breathing in and breathing out. And then if we do find ourselves getting caught up in a little stress in our mind about something that's real or not, what's this person going to do? Are they going to make me happy? Are they going to say something stupid? Are they going to open the borders too soon? All this stuff going around. We don't judge it. We don't try and fix it. We don't try and push it away or put it in a box. We just let go. We consent to just letting go and coming back to our breath. We might imagine that all these things are like little paper boats on the stream going by us, or sticks. And instead of jumping on with them and going down the river somewhere, we just let them go, and we come back to our breath and being present. Does that make sense? Well, let us begin. You might want to close your eyes as we clang the meditation bell. Remember to sit straight and sit comfortably in your body so it doesn't bother you. It doesn't become the focus. And then you might just imagine yourself sitting beside a stream or a brook. You might imagine feeling the sunlight coming through the leaves, that dapple, the warm sun shining upon your face and body. And as you let go, you might imagine and begin to hear the sound of the brook, just gently carrying away everything in this moment. Don't worry, I'll all be waiting for you when we're done. Carrying away your thoughts. Whatever emotions might be binding you up. Carrying away the minor pains in your body. You might feel the gentle and soft breeze that's moving around. Just imagine you're there. And then allow yourself to become focused on your breath in this safe and beautiful environment. As you breathe in, just imagine that your body's filling with gentleness and light and ease. As you're breathing out, just let go. There might be thoughts that go down the stream, or worries, or anxieties. You might just imagine them going away. Maybe noise in your environment that's bothering you. Maybe you feel tired. Overwhelmed. Maybe you have questions. Just let them go down the stream as you breathe out. So breathe in. And breathe out. Allow your mind to rest in your breath. Allow your breath to rest in your body. And back to your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. I'll just be quiet for a few seconds as you practice this. Remember, if your awareness, consciousness become attached to a string of thoughts or emotion or sensations around you in your body, always remember just to let go gently, non-judgmentally. Don't see it as a failure. You're doing something wrong. It's just part of the practice, and you come back to breathing in and breathing out. Take one more breath and feel how you're more present to being present. Gently open your eyes. Part of me, if I had my way in these sessions, sometimes we'd just have 5, 10, maybe 20 minutes of this without me even speaking. But that makes for very boring online presentations. Anybody tuning in will be going, what the hell are they doing? But that is really spiritual practices. It's really doing nothing but being present to your breath. And sometimes it might feel like what the hell am I doing? Honestly, it's like, where is this taking me? Well, it's taking you nowhere. It's just taking you everywhere. It's taking you to being present. Remember, it takes time. It really takes time. It's like the growing of plants in garden. It's like all of life. And there will be a part of ourselves that wants quick solutions, easy success. It seems like we're doing nothing. But that's the whole mystery of spiritual practices. It's so simple, it seems like we're doing nothing. But in doing nothing, truly something miraculous is happening in our mind, in our physical brains, in our heart, in our awareness, and in our body. And if we can just have fidelity and perseverance, something will unfold that we can't predict, and we'll be more present in life. So take care. Thank you for being with us on this journey, and I hope you stay safe and well, and many blessings.